Hello and welcome to PS4 O'Clock. My name's Leon Hurley and this week I'm talking to Deputy Editor Joel Gregory about PS4's free-to-play games. Hello, I'm here with Joel.
Hi.
And we're talking about free-to-play games coming to PlayStation 4. Now there are 5 in total. These are the games that they're free to download, they're free to play up to a certain level, and then you start sort of paying for sort of unlocks, different tiers.
Magic Underpants.
Magic Underpants, yes.
Yeah.
I think that is actually an option in one of them.
Probably.
The 5 games are Warframe, Planetside, DC Universe,
Planetside 2.
War Thunder, Planetside 2, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, I've lost count now of what I said.
War Thunder, Warframe, Planetside 2, DC Universe, and Blacklight
Retribution was
That's the one.
I'm going to start actually with Blacklight Retribution.
Okay.
I think because this one is the most sort of... It looks the most like a normal game, basically.
It is a normal game.
It just looks like a normal AAA shooter. It doesn't look like... it doesn't look free to play. It doesn't look like you're sort of getting it for nothing and then buying bits. It looks like a proper kind of online shooter.
Yeah, I played the first one. It was fine. It kind of wanted to be a budget COD, and it sort of was, but it felt a bit like a budget COD as well. But it played perfectly fine. It had guns and grenades and maps and men dying, which I'm pretty sure ticks all the boxes.
Yeah, it's got a fairly sort of basic kind of unlock system where you can pay for... you can either unlock weapons with sort of in-game currency, which as usual takes a long time, or you can fork out a couple of quid for things like new sights, new kind of bits of equipment.
Yeah,
mechs.
I heard there was some big brouhaha over this, and people were complaining that they didn't want to have to pay real money for things in free-to-play games, and Sony are now saying, oh, we won't make you, and stuff like that. But
I think all these things, they require a bit of balancing. That's why they tend to be in beta quite a lot. War Thunder, which we'll get to in a little while, is...
it is confusing, that. Come on, guys.
The problem is when
let's have a different name.
Warframe,
Warframe,
yeah.
War Thunder.
Well, I'm sure we'll get it wrong more than once. But the problem is when you get an economy that lets you buy a better gun, basically. It's one of the things in Planetside, they're very adamant that you can't buy like more powerful weapons. Blacklight Retribution, you literally can. You can buy better scopes.
Maybe it was Planetside I was reading about. Yeah, that sounds
yeah, because they're still testing. There's a couple of these games still in beta. But
well, it's like something like Dust, isn't it? You can basically jump in, pay like 10 quid and buy, I don't know, Super Jumpsuit Turbo 13, and then you're really good. Yeah, which does seem a bit unfair.
Dust is impenetrable to understand. I've been playing it for a while now, and the menus are just like a black hole of numbers and things. So I think they kind of get away with it because no one quite knows what they bought.
Well, that's a good idea.
But Blacklight, it's really customization. The customization is really high. So the guns you buy have bits and they break up, and you can buy all sorts of different things. But you are literally buying a better gun, basically. How that will work out on PS4, we'll have to wait.
It's a little bit dodgy. People will no doubt kick up a fuss by going that some noob killed them because he paid for a gun and they don't want to. But I guess it's your choice ultimately.
People seem quite happy with the PC version of it so far. There doesn't seem to be any major complaints. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is Warframe.
This is the third-person shooter.
This is the third-person
sci-fi one, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So this is. Do you remember Dark Sector?
Yes, I do.
So Dark Sector was originally meant to be a sort of sci-fi game about a man with armour, and it became this sort of weird thing about diseases and sort of infectious sort of conditions that gave people this kind of armour plating as a symptom. Digital Extremes, who originally made that, carried on with the armour. So it's a third-person game. The armour is called a Warframe, and they have different abilities. So they have sort of speed and different sort of power and weapons and so forth.
Like a mini Transformer man.
Kind of, yeah. And this is co-op, so you buy lots of more powerful guns, but you're only ever sort of playing with people.
Yeah, it's 4-player co-op, I think?
Yes, 4-player co-op. And this is basically like a range of missions. So there's assassination, there's sort of missions where you have to capture VIPs, there's kind of endless defense, kind of horde mode stuff, spy missions where you have to kind of find terminals and hack them. And there's also these sort of spot missions that kind of pop up, and you only have they're called alert missions, and you have a limited time. So some of them can only last half an hour, and if you're not there when it pops up,
right? Okay.
Those are how you sort of get your bonuses.
I think paying for stuff when you're playing together is a far easier thing to do, because then at least it's helping everybody, and no one's going to cry foul about it.
Yeah.
If your teammate wants to spend his pay packet on super bazookas or something like that, then all the better for all of you.
Yeah, and then this covers everything as well. So you are buying boosters, you're buying ammo, you're buying shield sort of repair sort of units, better guns and so forth. It's the closest I think to sort of a single player game almost. I mean, obviously it's a co-op game, but it's not competitive. It's not.
Yeah, and presumably they'll have some loose narrative to keep you going in there somewhere. Well, yeah, one would hope. Anyway,
the narrative is you are these Tenno, this race called Tennos, and you are being sort of hunted down by this kind of industrialized sort of human species, and that's kind of the plot. Is you're at war with this sort of race that's trying to wipe you out. But yeah, okay, so that's that one.
That is Warframe.
Warframe, yes.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned Planetside 2 earlier. I'm kind of really excited about this simply because it is 2,000 players. It's huge.
Yeah, and it's been really well received on PC. Reviews have been excellent, and it actually does look really good.
Yeah, and the things you buy in this are what they kind of term convenience items.
Toilet roll.
Yeah, toilet roll. So, but it's about sort of getting more experience, more kind of points and resources. Those can in turn unlock things later on, but it's more about kind of spawning with equipment and not having to sort of keep restocking and waiting. So you're not kind of paying to get better equipment, which it's that was what they initially sort of criticised it for in beta stages. But you're just basically making life easier.
Yeah,
waiting less, having to
yeah.
sort of...
I think this one looks like probably the best game of the 5. It's got a sort of Destiny-esque feel to it in that it's this massive open world with a beep ton of people in it, and it's pretty. It looks like there's a huge array of weapons. It all looks like it. I haven't played it, but PC reception's been really good, and kind of everyone seems to be having a good time.
Yeah, and it's also class based, I should mention. So it's that kind of light assault, heavy assault, medic, engineer,
porn star,
yeah,
all the 5 normal classes,
all the normal classes. Yeah, so it's a fairly traditional kind of online competitive multiplayer with sort of free to play elements, but it's huge, and you've probably seen the video. Massive battles, lots of things going on. That one looks quite exciting. Which brings us on to one which people might know before, which is DC Universe, which I actually played on PS3.
Yes.
This is the most traditional, I think, of the kind of the.
This is the one where you can get by underpants. I'm sure.
Literally by underpants, yeah. But it's the most like something like a Warcraft. You have your little sort of powers at the bottom. Yeah. You level up and you go to little guys with question marks over their head and ask them for quests.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't scream gameplay-wise. It doesn't scream next level, which is next generation, which is unsurprising considering it's basically a port. It's fun enough though. It's not the kind of game I would lose my life to, but I've played the one on PS3 a bit, and it's pretty enjoyable. I think if it had been free to begin with, it would have been a far bigger success than it was. As it was, you had to pay. I believe you had to buy a box game and pay a subscription at first.
I think it didn't
which is absolute suicide for a game that's sort of 7 out of 10. But I assume since it's gone free, a lot more people have picked it up, and it is kind of fun. Everyone's going to have fun with make your own superhero and cock about with silly costumes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I quite enjoyed it, and the thing I think that might save it on PS4 is that it was quite slow on PS3. So there'd be a lot of loading, a lot of waiting. It took a lot of time to sort of do things just to simply get from one area to the next, and hopefully that will be fixed on PS4, so it'll be faster. Yeah, which will address the main issue. It's got a slightly different kind of payment model as well, where instead of paying specifically for things, it's got like a free, a premium, and a legendary level. So free is just everything free. You get the sort of level 1 to 30 missions, certain kinds of gameplay. There's limitations on sort of what you can do with your character, how many characters you can have.
Right.
If you spend £5 or more on the game, that bumps you up to premium. So you've only got to like sort of buy sort of one DLC pack or one kind of
one super
thing.
Cape.
Yeah, and then that gives you a bit more kind of more character slots. You get sort of access to more things. And then legendary is the the subscription, and that basically gets you everything.
Right. Okay.
Which I think that's quite a nice way of doing it, because if you do play it enough and go, I quite like this, and you buy one thing,
it seems fair. I mean, I'm sure there are people going, I'm only getting half the game because I won't pay money for it. But at the same time, you're getting that half of the game for free, so stop complaining.
I played it on free for a while, and I don't think I ever got to a point where I wasn't allowed to do anything anymore. I mean, there's quite a lot there for no money whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I say, it's decent enough. It's good fun just thrashing about in that world with powers, basically.
Yeah. Which brings us to the last of the free-to-play PS4 titles, which is War Thunder.
Yes.
This is a bit of a weird one, really, isn't it?
It's weird. Like I don't know. It kind of looks alright. It's old tanks and planes and ships and stuff.
It's planes at the moment. Yeah, tanks and.
There are tanks and ships incoming.
Yeah, and it's from the guys that made Sturmovich, Gaijin Games.
Which is good.
Which is good, yeah. And the footage so far does look quite interesting. And there's a lot of sort of lively kind of forum debate. Seen people kind of arguing. Some of them are sort of criticising the payment model, because it does look like you can buy success in some cases. In other cases, it's not worth spending any money because what you buy doesn't help you.
Right.
I was trying to work out, because the sort of payment model seems very strange, because you get sort of packs that vary between about sort of £16 to about £70.
£70?
Yeah, but
this is not free to play anymore.
But this is the weird thing. So the packs contain things like different planes. There's some single player campaigns, and there's also timed premium accounts. So the smaller pack might get you 2 weeks of a premium account. A larger pack might get you 2 months. It's a very odd system.
I'm not convinced by this. I'm not spending £70 on a blind pack of things that if I don't know what's in it.
It tells you what's in it. You get certain kinds of planes. It tells you clearly what's in it, but there doesn't seem to be any kind of logic to it. So you could, like I say, spend 15 quid, you get like a couple of planes, and you get 2 weeks of premium.
Right.
You spend a bit more, you might get a month of premium.
The game looks quite fun though. Like you look how much people love things like World of Tanks. You know, if it's free and you can blow each other up in military vehicles, people love that stuff.
Yeah,
and the maps are massive. It's like 100,000 square kilometers of map, I think it said on the trailer.
They're huge. Yeah.
And it's in beta now on PC, I believe.
Yeah, and they are
so
doing
you can
a lot of tuning to it.
You can jump in and try it now, and like you said, I think it is just planes at the moment, but there's going to be boats and tanks and stuff like that. And yeah, you know, if you've got a lot of players there, if you've got a group of mates on it, I reckon it could be quite fun, to be honest.
Yeah, it could be interesting. Like I said, the forums are passionately kind of debating their favourite planes, and you know, they're sort of how to get more out of whatever they're flying. And I should say, it covers everything from World War II up to early Korean War. And there's a lot of planes in there. I had a quick look on the wiki, and I started to give up when it was naming obscure Australian fighters that I'd never heard of. I didn't even know Australia made fighters.
That's just racist. Huge fighter plane industry in Australia. Should know that.
Yeah,
just basic stuff.
Okay, schoolboy era. Okay, well there you go. That's your 5 free-to-play games: Blacklight Retribution, War Thunder, Warframe, Planetside 2, DC Universe. That was all of them, wasn't it?
Yep. That's 5.
So they're free to play when they launch. Most of them have got sort of early 2014 release date. But okay, there you go.
Bye.